Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings 2022 NFC Win Totals, the NFC West, the NFC North. We've already done the South and the East, so check out part 1 of this already released on Mayo Media Network. So give your heads a shake, pals, and subscribe right now. Also smash the like to the episode, and of course, tell your friends about the Pat Mayo Experience, because football season gonna be a lot of fun. You can find all of the previous shows we've done for the NFL preseason down in the comments section, and the newsletter is down there as well, which will have extra tidbits completely free to go sign up. However, sub to the audio podcast, even if you just download and delete, it really helps us out. But if you leave a 5-star review with a Twitter handle or email on your 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you're entered in a draw where I'm divvying up $1,000 in cash just to give away. And you can't win it if you don't do that. So go do it right now. That's why you got to tell your friends so they can do it on your behalf, and maybe you'll win $1,000. Who knows how that's going to work? Geoff Fienberg combing his hair already. Oh, we didn't get you on the camera. Didn't get you on the camera combing your hair.
No, it's worse. I got in that little break, I helped my daughter put on sunscreen, and I feel like I now rubbed it in my eyes. So I'm just having I'm starting in problem. So it should be a wonderful episode.
So if you're looking for the over-unders with myself and Geoff and the coin from the last show, it's easy to find. Like I said, just hit the description or just find it on Mayo Media Network, download the podcast, all that fun stuff. You want to run simulations of every week of the year, get your own custom projections out there for betting and daily fantasy. It's easy. Go to runthesims.com/Mayo right now. Get yourself the 10% off because you're going to want it if you're laying down any sorts of money this season on DraftKings Sportsbook. No matter where it is, it will only help you out. Let's introduce the 4th member of the show. Came with some fire, and he came with a Cust Corner last time, and he'll have another one this time. It is Tim Undercust.
Tim Undercust.
That is not my name. I don't know that I came with fire. I felt like that was a pretty even-keeled episode.
Paul had mentioned that last episode's Cust Corner Mini was one of the best Cust Corner Minis in a while.
Well, fair enough. I mean, I don't know how – I never know when I bring these topic up which direction things are going to go. Sometimes they fall flat, and sometimes people light up, and that was the latter this time, which is great, I suppose.
Well, Jeffrey, we're going to start out west with the defending Super Bowl champion, the Los Angeles Rams. They are the favorites in the West. 10.5 is their win total. Seems low for the Super Bowl champions. On paper, at least. Minus 250 to make the playoffs, plus 130 to win the division, 5.5 to 1 to win the conference, 12 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. They appear to have a big challenge in this division, and the coin is going with the... What's heads? Heads is over. The over for the Los Angeles Rams this time around. It does seem like 10.5 is kind of low, doesn't it? Although Matt Stafford, after being propped up by Tim Andercust, now has elbow tendonitis or something like that.
It's a concern, but look, they start the season with a walkover, so you get 1 win to start, and then it's just a question of can I get 9 more to basically have this thing, 10 more, get this thing locked up. I feel really good about this Rams team. I don't think they're as good as they were last season. I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl, but they're still crazy talented. As Geoff always says, there's no depth on that team, and he's right. That team doesn't have a ton of depth, but what it has is top line skill at basically every position. So there's and particularly since I know this division is hard, but I'm down, everyone's not down on Seattle, and as we'll discuss, I'm quite down on the Cardinals too. I don't know it's quite as hard as people think it is. I think that we're going to have a couple double-digit teams in this division, and the Rams are one of them. I think they win 11, maybe 12. I'll lean to 11, and then we will take the over. I don't love it. I don't like any of the bets on here. To make the playoffs, minus 250 is too short. But anyway, I like the Rams enough to pick them here. That's for sure. Go over.
I'm kind of leaning with Tim on this one. Over seems like the right bet, although I feel like we take the under on the Rams every year between you and I, Geoff.
Yeah, I'm not doing that this year. Tim said a lot of what I wanted to say, and it seems like we may have a similar outlook on all 4 teams in the division for the start here. The win total definitely seems low. And if you look at it, I guess that has to be a byproduct of the head-to-head versus the entire AFC West. a first place schedule that gives them Tampa and Green Bay as crossovers. And you talk about an ultra weak NFC for everyone to take advantage of. The Rams don't have that. They don't have depth either. But what they do have is ultra skill. And what they also have is maybe some of the best scheme in the league. So I'm going to bet on their skill and on their scheme. And I'm going to take 10.5. There's enough parts of this party that make me pretty confident they're going to do that. I don't see the crowning achievement again, but for 10.5, I'm in over.
Would it surprise you that the under 10.5 is minus 125 and to bet the over like you guys plus 105?
I am a little surprised. I will say that. Maybe people are banking on regression. Maybe people are really bullish on San Francisco and Arizona and therefore think the Rams might be the odd man out with a little bit of malaise after a Super Bowl. I don't know. I'm not quite sure I can sort of divine that reason. But great. Glad to hear that you get a little bit of plus money to go with the Rams here. Marvelous.
And I just want to correct myself. Sorry, because I said their crossovers were the Packers and the
Buccaneers, which is true.
No, they play the Buccaneers as a full division. The
so
crossovers
Dallas
are the Packers and Dallas, but it is a December
but they get a third crossover,
road.
right? They get a top team in the AFC would be their other crossover. They get a number 1 seed from the AFC.
Yeah, that's Buffalo. That's week 1 because they're AFC.
There you have it.
They play the entire AFC West and the Buffalo Bills.
So they play 4 good teams and the Bills. Okay.
Yeah, but either way, and that Green Bay game is in December. It is in Green Bay. I don't know that any of that stuff matters. Again, I think their skill and scheme can overcome all of it.
I'm going to ride the over with you guys. I'm going to get a clean sweep of the overs for the Rams onto the Niners. This seems like the team that everyone wants a piece of here. 10 is the win total. Minus 225 to make the playoffs at DraftKings Sportsbook. Plus 150 to win the division. 7.5 to 1 to win the NFC. 16 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. Maybe Jimmy G will end up starting games for them this year, which probably means their under has most definitely hit at that point because Trey Lance is going to start the season as the starter. Looks like Debo is going to be there, no problem. Nick Bosa, healthy, and Tim's pick to win Defensive Player of the Year. Already it sounds, Tim at least, like you're very high on the San Francisco 49ers.
To quote one of my favorite philosophers, Jimmy Whichard, smash 'ems. I love San Francisco this season, and I really like what that team is doing. I am willing to believe in Trey Lance in part because I think Shanahan is such a perfect quarterback coach that he has drafted. He chose a player whose skill set he really likes and has had a full off season to devote all his energies to developing an offense that will maximize the skill his quarterback has. I think that Lance is going to hit the ground running and play really well. Love Debo. Everyone knows I wanted Debo to be a Jet. I still wish he were a Jet. I love Debo Samuel. Kittle continues to be one of my absolute favorite players in the NFL. I love the way he plays football.
Hold on. Is that because he kittles your timbers?
No, but that's still great. San Francisco is loaded top to bottom. And if Lance plays well, and I think he will. I mean, this team got to the NFC Championship game last year with subpar quarterback play because that defense is ferocious. That defense shut down what was an excellent Packers team to 10 points last season in the playoffs. The Niners, then Dallas, who had a fantastic offense all season, couldn't do very much against the Niners in the playoffs. Like San Francisco is stacked. I love them a lot here. I certainly love them to the over.
Geoff, they were one dropped interception away from cashing us a bunch of money to win the NFC last season.
Would have been a lot of fun. As Dan Campbell, I think, Pat, crushed the Coach of the Year market in terms of where that opened to where it is today. It feels like on the MVP market, if it's not Jalen Hurts, it's Trey Lance. And while I'm so high on the 49ers, I cannot wrap my head around the Trey Lance, being that good this fast, having played so little in 4 years, having never, essentially in his entire career from college and pros, I don't think he's ever run a 2-minute drill practically. That's so weird. But I'm still over on the 49ers. And when Trey Lance works, as discussed in our future bet show, I think Kyle Shanahan to win Coach of the Year. If Trey Lance is a hit, who do you think they're giving the credit to? If that team goes back to another title game with a different quarterback, one with no experience, one that he leveraged everything to pick when people thought it would be other people who he was picking, Coach of the Year. So that could be my favorite 49er bet, but I'm picking them to win over. Everything Tim said, the offense, the defense, they might be less efficient, but they'll be far more explosive, and that's just what they need, in my opinion. So 49ers over. Yeah, and their division is their season starts so easy, Pat. The question is, are they going to they could eliminate half the eliminators in week 1 and 2 if they don't win with Chicago-Seattle starts.
Oh, 100%. If they don't go 2-0 to start the season, like everyone is out of Survivor immediately. I'm going under on the 10 wins. You talked about the crossover schedule. I think they're good. And listen, if they make the playoffs, I think they could probably make the playoffs at 9-8 anyway. That I think they will be a formidable team. But I'm just... Yes, if I like Trey Lance. I think fantasy-wise, he's going to be excellent. But that would also include him being down in some games and having to run for his life a little bit, a la Jalen Hurts, and piling up fantasy points that way. I think they're going to play a lot of close games. And when you give me an elevated win total for a team that's going to play a lot of close games against good teams versus a lower win total against, like you had mentioned with, I think it was the Falcons or whoever it was, that was just, you expect them to cover a lot of spreads within 7 points, but lose a lot of those games. But I mean, they could just win a lot of those games too. Once you start getting into one-score games, a lot of weird things can happen. If things break the other way for the 49ers and they're playing close games against these good teams, the under is going to come through. And it's not that difficult of a division where they have to win 14 games. Maybe they will. I don't see them doing it. I have them under the 10. That's even money on both sides, minus 110, or it's even to the split of the juice on both sides on DraftKings Sportsbook right now. Arizona is up next, and this is a trickier one. I think, at least. I know Tim's going to say it's not, but I'm taking the over on 8.5 wins for the Arizona Cardinals to make the playoffs 125. I think Seattle, we're going to get to them in a second, is an absolute dead fish in this division, and a lot of this win total is going to be predicated, as we've seen in years past, Tim, on if they can go like 5-1 to start the year, because as the season goes along, it just does appear like that's the worst the Cardinals get.
Well, if only they didn't have their best receiver out for the first 6 games of the year so they could do that, right? Like, everything is lining up poorly for the Cardinals. They're a year older. I don't think Cliff Kingsbury is that great of a coach. They have trouble finishing seasons. They don't have their best playmaker on the field for a good amount of it. And the Rams and the Niners are quite good. And I just do not trust Murray to have a very nice season. The defense, they have J.J. Watt back. Oh, great! Like, I'm really, really excited about that. Another person who just doesn't play, a marvelous player who just doesn't play football. Tough schedule, tough division. I don't see a whole lot about Arizona to get excited about. I mean, could they go over? Yes. Could they be 9-8? Absolutely. I could see them going 8-9, 9-8. I personally think they're going to win like 7 games, and I think Cliff Kingsbury's out the door at the end of the season. And I think that would be good for Arizona if that were the case. So I am going to play the under. I'm not as optimistic about them, but it's the NFC. They are not one of the worst teams. Therefore, they can rack up wins. I think a lot of people are sort of like warming on the Cardinals or think the Cardinals could actually have a nice season.
No, see, I feel like it's the opposite.
I don't.
Going into every season, people want Cliff Kingsbury to be a thing, Geoff. And people did. I mean, you picked them to win the division. They won the division, what was it, 2 years ago? They didn't win it last year, did they? Did they win it last year? No, I can't remember.
They did not.
No, the game was in the Rams hosted that.
The Rams hosted that game, so it was
debacle of a game.
Yeah, it just feels like they linger. They're going to be right around this win total, but it does feel like all of the shine is off the Cardinals and Kingsbury and Kyler Murray, where there was just so much hype the past few seasons, and under is going to be the very popular bet if people are betting the Cardinals. I'm just going to swerve. I'm going to go over. I still think they have enough talent to get through all this.
I love your mindset. Like, just totally swerve. Because you're totally right. I don't know what offseason Tim follows, but that shine is so gone. They're on like that final rose in the Beauty and the Beast. like the final pedal is about to fall here. Kingsbury, for all the love we wanted to give him, or people wanted to make him great, no. The whole contracting with Kyler Murray and the embarrassment, and then this, is he even dedicated? That's got to stink. That I think goes into the win total. That being said, Pat, seems a year older. I do not like them. They lose Chandler Jones on defense. They are so vulnerable on that defense, in my opinion. They play so many elite passing quarterbacks this year that Kyler Murray's going to earn every cent of it. I do hate that I am making my call here is trending with the public consensus and the vibe that could very well be in the moment. Give me the under. I think this is just an older team. I didn't see them getting better, and I think that defense is going to leave them in some vulnerable spots. They beat the tar out of the Titans week 1, looked dominant defensively. I swear that gave them 2 months of people thinking their defense was good. Like that week 1 game.
Yeah, but their defense their defense also lost like their 2 best players like 4 weeks later. So
always context is king. That is important.
So unders for you two and the coin, I will be going over. Heavy under for me with the Seattle Seahawks. 5.5 is their win total. The betting public is with me on this one. It's like massively juiced to the under right now. 5-1 to make the playoffs, 20-1 to win the division, 80-1 to win the conference, 50-1 to win the Super Bowl. This is why I said I liked Atlanta 8-1 to make the playoffs as a decent bet, Geoff, because Seattle's 5-1 to make the playoffs. Seattle is god awful. Like my Chicago is the worst team in football bet. I feel like this is the team that I really need to watch out for. I'm looking at their schedule. They have 3 winnable games, at least right now. And I picked the over on 2 of those teams. I guess it had, depending on how you feel about the Lions, and it does seem like the Lions are going to be a lot better. They play the Falcons, they play the Lions, they play the Giants, and they play the Panthers. So even if they win all 4 of those games, what are they, 4-13? Great. Thanks for coming out. This is Pete Carroll's last season. He's not back next year. It's not happening.
A very weird situation in all respects. Even the fact that they're such a run-first team and their first-round pick near the top of the board is an air raid offensive lineman. And all Pete Carroll, it seems like, wants to do is run. So there seems to be no symmetry out of Seattle at all. Whoever said it earlier, I think might have been in the past show when the first coach to get fired. I don't think that's possible because he's Pete Carroll and it seems like there's enough respect and it doesn't even feel like anyone actually owns the team at the moment. I think it's still the estate of Paul Allen, maybe his sister. Why waste any more time talking? Under. Atrocious.
I read this incorrectly. At DraftKings Sportsbook right now, the under is actually juiced to plus 105 and the over is minus 125. So I guess people like the Seattle over? Maybe that coincides. Brand name. I think that's all this is, right?
We haven't seen Seattle be horrific, the entire time that Russell Wilson was there. So,
and what do you think the key point is with that?
I mean, it's obvious, right? I'm with you guys. I'm on the under. I got no faith in this Seahawks team. I will guarantee they will pull off some miracle win against either San Francisco or the Rams because that just will happen. They'll be like 13-point dogs going into San Francisco and they'll win like a Week 14 game. I don't think they won't. But to get to 6, man, I don't see it. Carroll will have to do one of his finest coaching jobs to take Drew Lock or Geno Smith or whoever it is that's playing quarterback and shepherd that team into 7 wins. And man, oh man, I don't see it. I like the under quite a bit. I don't really want to waste much more time on it.
And hopefully this year we can bury that 12th man shit. Like, I don't remember no 12th man at no Kingdome. Oh, your fans were great when your stadium was brand new and your team was awesome. Like, I think Denver has a proven commodity, tried, tested, and true home field advantage even when they're mediocre. I don't think that's Seattle at all.
Looking at the odds for worst regular season record, Seattle is 3rd on the list right now. They're plus 650 to have the worst record in the NFL. Yet people are betting they're over at 5.5, which kind of seems crazy to me. I don't get this one at all. Like, I don't see what redeeming qualities this team has. They have a coach who coaches like it's 1974. They lose their Hall of Fame quarterback, and as Tim mentioned, you get Geno Picks or Drew Sucks at quarterback. That's not going to help out the two good receivers, the only good part of your team that you have, and their strategy of let's try to run down 21, see if that one works. And their three starting running backs already banged up. It looks like Kenneth Walker has this hernia, no idea when he's coming back. Rashad Penny might be okay for week 1. And Chris Carson's essentially the Terminator. He has some sort of weird fusion in his neck that he might be paralyzed if he takes another hit if that surgery doesn't go well. He probably shouldn't play football again. And this is what they're rolling out there. It's a lot of respect for a team that, has had an amazing decade under Pete Carroll. But this feels like let's get bad. Let's get the number 1 pick, top 3 pick. We can get rid of Pete Carroll and just start over starting next year. It does not feel like, and you mentioned the ownership thing, Geoff. Doesn't this all feel like it's all baked into one thing?
Very possible. 100%. And the people that own are in part of the transition of teams, are hyper aware of how the team should be left for, I don't mean like the dumpster fire, but you clean that. We'll leave it to you with a clean house. Potentially sometimes makes it more attractive. What did you say your number was on them to be the worst to win the fewest games? Did you say you bet that?
I didn't bet it, no, because I bet the Bears at 10-1. The Bears are now down to plus 750. It's 6.5 to 1 for the Seahawks to be the worst team in the league.
Yeah, it feels like if you took them and the Bears, you could get lucky, but maybe Houston ends up being what people I thought they'd be last year. I don't mind that Bears bet or on Seattle, even at current prices.
All right, let's get to the division picks here. I'm going to take the Rams.
Rams.
San Francisco.
You're really all in on San Francisco, huh? This never goes well for you when you're big on San Francisco coming into the year.
Probably not. I remember I was big on San Francisco last year in that game. They played against the Titans on a Thursday. They crushed me.
They did. But you weren't big on the Niners going into last year, and they had a really good season. And then the year that you picked them to win the Super Bowl, they had the number 3 pick and got Bosa.
It's true. I do, though, I like them quite a bit this year. I like them to win the division. They
are 90-1 to have the worst record in the league, by the way. Just looking at all these odds. The Bills actually have you hate the Bills this year. That should be your bet. 500-1.
No, I don't hate them. They're a soft football team. And people are pretending like they're coming off their 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years or something, when they're softer than butter.
It's funny. This division isn't super interesting, is it?
Not really. There are 2 teams that have a chance. One that, if everything broke right, or if Kyler played amazingly, that they could steal it. There's not a whole lot of intrigue here.
That brings us to the midway point of the show, which on these 4 win total shows means a special mini episode of Cust Corner.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner.
So I kind of want to take some credit here. I was having some issues with my coffee machine. It wasn't working correctly for me. And I went online and looked online how to clean it, how to descale it, how to do this fix, that fix. Nothing worked. So I had to bite the bullet because I'm a member of the club. I called the company because I knew it was under warranty. I called and I said, I'm looking to get this fixed because it's not working. I said, I've been looking online. And if he stopped me, the person that said, sir, never, ever, ever go online to fix. Never consider looking online for a fix. This hotline is here for people to help you. The worst thing you can do is go online and look for advice on how to help to fix these things.
Can I?
And I was like,
hold on. Can I interject?
Really? That's awesome.
Hold on? Can I interject and just claim that this never happened? This is not a true story.
100%.
It's not a true story.
100. He said, don't ever go online to look how to fix this machine. Call us. You're a member. This is what the hotline is for. Don't just try to Google it and look it up. And I was like, oh, thank you. And I was like, gee, yet another example of somebody telling me not to bother with wasting your time on the internet because nothing works. And it lies to you, whether it tells you that a store is going to be open when it isn't, or whether you should descale your coffee machine a particular way. It's like, don't do that. Just don't depend on Google to give you any answers that you can trust. And I kind of want some credit on this, that I was affirmed in this.
I mean, again, this never happened. So now you're
It
making
100%
you're
happened.
making up stories to
100%.
try to give yourself. You need credit
This is
so
sad.
badly.
This is sad that you can't just give me my due when I get this right. You have to just say, "Oh, this never happened." That's how much it bothers you that someone in a position told me not to worry about the online. Don't ever go online.
I don't care what they said, and I just know that, Geoff. Does that sound like something someone would tell you? Honestly, the way that Tim has described it, I don't disagree that he probably said something to the effect of, "Hey, this is what we're here for. You don't need to go online and look stuff up." But the way that Tim has described it really feels off. It just feels like 30 degrees off somewhere.
Yeah, it feels totally inaccurate. And I mean, as someone who has an espresso in their house as well, it's a wonderful company with good customer service. Like, they are the outlier in these modern times. So there are still hundreds of products that I have in my house, from a stupid toy of my kids that won't work to a consortium of other things where I will still 100% have no other choice but to use the internet, because they're not as great as Nespresso, who tries to really, in some ways, do what the hotels Tim stays at won't.
And they looked after
personal concierge.
They solved all my problems,
and they're great at that.
They're great.
And they sell that. That is part of who they are, as their brand identity.
I agree with you, because here's the thing, though. Now that I'm thinking about it, and this is just kind of registering with me right now, they do have really good on-the-phone customer service. But we have an espresso as well, which broke, so we had to call them. Are they just selling, like, I like my Nespresso, it works great until it stops working. But do they have the really good customer service because their shit breaks all the time?
I don't know, but I mean, mine was within warranty, and it was replaced.
So was mine, but isn't that a problem that all of our Nespressos are breaking within, like, the first year of having them?
Well, I use mine all the
So do
time.
I. But I'm
Anyway.
sure most people who buy a coffee-making machine that's, like, that simple to use, I'm guessing drink a lot of coffee.
I mean, I'm talking 8, 9, 10 times a day. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Now, they're not all coffee. Some of them are espressos or lungos or, like, a little cappuccino or whatever. But sometimes they're just coffees. I use them all day, every day. So, like, mine is getting a lot of use. But it just was so gratifying when I was on the phone with the person who's helping me, and I said, I looked online to how to clean this, and it said this and it didn't work. And he said, sir, never, I'll stop you there. Never look online. Don't look online.
But don't
just call us. I was like,
let's say
someone who understands me.
Let's say he actually did say that, which he didn't. Do you think it's somewhat in his best self-interest to tell you things like that so he continues to have a job?
Absolutely. But I'm being told what I want to hear, which is don't waste your time on the internet. You don't find answers there. Have people whose job it is to help you help you.
You're the guy that still asks Jeeves, and you're telling us the internet doesn't have answers?
The internet doesn't have all the answers, and sometimes it's better not to waste your time with the internet. And this person confirmed what I believed, and I just want you guys to admit that I was right, and I've come to take a victory lap.
I'm not admitting you're right. I'm agreeing Espresso has fantastic customer service that 99 companies in the world don't have.
99% of companies. I mean, 99 companies probably do have good customer service. We really just break down the minutia of it. However, I will give you credit because you actually tried to Google something and then tried to make a decision after that instead of just saying, well, who could possibly know the answer to this? I will do
So
nothing.
the lesson learned, though, but my lesson learned from this, from the expert, was to not Google.
Oh, but your suggestion, your correct answer is to make a phone call. Things you forbid to freaking do, pal.
Well, I had to call somebody when I went online. I had to call somebody. I needed to get this fixed. I'd put it off for too long, and like I was just drinking regular drip coffee, like a pleb. I didn't have my fancy coffees, and so it was nice to have. Like I said, I was ripping through a sleeve of. What have you got there, Geoff? What have you got there?
Oh, what is that? Oh, what is that?
No, put that away. Put that away.
Looks dreamy. Looks very dreamy.
It's a dream flavored Coca-Cola.
How stupid is this?
Does it taste like a Jets Super Bowl victory to Geoff?
Open it up.
Let's see.
Drink
Let
that
me
garbage.
do a taste
You
test
drink it
right
all.
now.
Yeah,
Dream flavored
give us a review.
Coca-Cola.
Give us a review. Oh, looks like he's dreaming when he's drinking it.
Oh my God! I'm getting flashbacks of all my dreams from the past few nights.
What does it taste like, Geoff?
Oh, it tastes like dreams.
Shut
Tastes
up.
like my
What does it actually
dreams.
taste like? What does it actually taste like?
Dream infused flavor.
That is not what I. Ugh. What does it actually taste like?
I don't even know how to verbalize the taste.
Does it taste good or bad? You're going back for second, so I'm going to say at least mediocre.
I gotta say, it tastes like nothing.
Like it tastes like water?
Like, are they trying to embarrass me? Like, to come out with dream flavored sodas? Like I feel like I'm being personally insulted.
Do you own
Like-
Coca-Cola stock by chance?
I don't know how to own stock, so no, I don't know how to do that. But here's the thing, like,
How old are you?
what, 35?
Well, what do you mean you don't know how to own stock?
I don't know how. I don't know how to do that. I don't know. You go down to the stock market or broker and he gives you the stocks. I don't know how it works.
Stock market.
I don't know how. I know that sounds stupid. I really don't know how you do it. Like, I suspect it's probably all online these days, but I know you get the pieces of paper that are shares. And like, do you go see your broker and he gives you the shares, or does it all done digitally? I really don't know. I'm sure there's an effective way to do it. I don't know stocks. I don't have stocks. I don't understand them. Anyway, I don't. But that's true. Like, there are shares you get. It's like those little pieces of paper. Like, that's what a share is. It's not an NFT. It's not just this thing that floats in the interwebs. Like, it's an actual thing that exists. Like, if you join a golf course, they give you shares in the golf course or something, right? Like, that's a piece of paper that you take home and put up on the wall or whatever.
So you
So,
think?
I mean, I'm sure you could do that with your stocks in some way, shape, or form. I really don't know whether your broker like gets a digital copy and then gets a hard copy too. Like, I don't know. Like, I know that at least back in the day when you had a stock portfolio, like literally your stocks were kept in a physical portfolio. Now, I don't doubt that there still is physical portfolios that you put stocks in, but then there's also like digitized versions of it that people buy and sell. Like, but I don't know. I'd be the first to admit I really don't quite know how the stock game works and how you go about it. I don't have the stocks. I don't know it.
But you think that Dream Cola is a personal attack on you?
I'm starting to wonder. Pixel flavored cola. No, it's not main character syndrome. Stop that. Like pixel flavored soda and space flavored soda and dream flavored soda. And they know how much the fans hate these sorts of stuff. And like how we find it insulting that like we feel like I'm being told, oh, my choice of drink isn't good enough anymore.
Wait, if you're
And unless I'm
such, hold
drinking the
on.
dream
If you're
flavored-
so fucking offended, why don't you stop drinking it and have some protest? But no,
Well-
you and your bunch of fucking crony loser fucking friends are just gonna be drinking 20 Diet Coke a day until you fucking die. And it doesn't matter how many space or galaxy Cokes that come out. And then, oh no, we're still gonna be fans. We're still gonna be fans. No matter how personally insulted and triggered
point-
we are the entire time. You're never gonna fucking stop. You're addicted.
At some point, I might just say, enough's enough.
Buddy,
No.
that pallet train.
Wrong.
That pallet train of DC cans will never stop on your front porch.
I might say, you know what, that's it. I need to switch to PC brand Diet Cola or something. I've just taken too much of a hit.
Are you going to give a review of Dream Coke? Can we film you this weekend? Can I get you a Dream Coke and we can film one of your reviews? We did that last year on the trip.
Oh, we did that for the Mac Chicken, that like the spicy breakfast Mac Chicken that we had.
There's
Yeah,
a new McChicken in Canada.
Well, hold on, Geoff. If you recall Tim's review of the McChicken, he said it was just, it was very good that they put the cheese on the bottom of the burger, not realizing that he was holding it fucking upside down.
It's an English muffin. There's no top or bottom to an English muffin.
On that note, they've introduced a McCrispy.
I saw that. Don't think I
Canada,
didn't see that. I
which
saw
is
that.
$1 more than the McChicken.
Well, the McChicken's not crispy, right? It's like it's breaded, but it's not crispy. I saw that. But yes, if you bring a Coca-Cola Dream Coke, I will do the food review this weekend while we're away on our golf trip. I'll provide an unvarnished review.
Can you provide that objectively? Or are you just automatically going to hate it?
I will describe I will be as objective as I can, as much as any person can. I'm not going to lie that I'm going in with a preconceived bias. I won't like it, but I will nevertheless give it an honest appraisal.
Not to deviate like too far off or to go inside.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to do that.
World too much, but you guys have your big golf event coming up. Your
Ryder Cup. Yeah.
Ryder Cup. you guys are on the same team. Like, does someone assign, like, Tim's struggling, let's go bring him a cold DC right now?
Well,
like,
Tim's the captain, so he's the one who should be doing that for everyone, but he doesn't. He's a bad captain. Made bad picks too.
First, you're calling me a bad captain. We haven't played yet. So
Well,
you don't know that.
technically, by
Secondly,
the time,
I drafted a team, and you did the odds. Our team is favored to win.
Yes,
so I drafted the
our
better
team is favored to win because we lost our worst player and they lost their best player after the draft.
I drafted a team that is going to win, that is favored to win. I feel good about it.
So,
good captain.
Essentially, Geoff, what happened was we drafted teams, and I criticized Tim's picks at the time. Although he drafted me, I felt like there was a spot in the draft where he could have made us like a super team and decided to not go that route. But he ended up drafting a guy whose handicap was like 37 as the very last pick. And they drafted a guy whose handicap was like 6. And then both those guys fell off, and the guy that we replaced the 37 handicap with is like an 18 handicap, and the guy that they replaced that handicap with just didn't get replaced. So he was their best player, and now he's no longer there.
Yeah, it's 14 of us all together.
All setting up for Tim to be a captain and feel the glory.
I can't wait to lift that trophy for the 3rd time in a row. This year, the captaincy has fallen on me. We rotate the captains through. Captaincy has fallen on me this season, and I can't wait to hoist that trophy above my head in victory. And people spend the whole year saying, "Good work, Captain. Good job, Cap." I call myself Captain Clutch. That's the nickname I've given myself.
Well, unfortunately, that's what Bob Weeks started calling Corey Connors.
Corey Clutch?
Yeah,
well,
it was actually
Paul
Clutch
Eisinger
Connors.
will tell you. As Paul Eisinger will tell you, he's the one of the best putters in the field.
So
I want to have one of those captain's hats and like a pashmina with the anchors on it.
Well, when it's like October football and you guys are getting together, you would expect someone who was on your team to refer to you as Cap?
No need. If they wanted to once or twice, I wouldn't say no. I will be so happy to live the glory days of the year I took the team to victory with my captaincy, and I'm very excited about it. A lot of pressure on my shoulders, too. If it ends up being tied, the 2 captains have to play a one-hole winner-take-all match at the end of 4 days. And I really hope that responsibility doesn't fall on me because I hope we win. But if it does fall upon me, I'm going to win. I've got this 2-wood all ready to roll. I'll just hit a nice baby draw over the right-hand side of the hole on 18. I looked it up. Hit like this little baby draw and then just sort of sling in a sand wedge. And next thing you know, 2-putt par, and we hoist her. We hoist the trophy for victory.
So, Geoff, I think I made mention of this to you the other day that we were playing some dogleg lefts, and Tim's miss with his 2-wood is like duck because he's the lefty. It's just right, yet he refuses to pull out a driver or any other club on these holes, despite knowing that it's like 50-50 between like okay drive and completely in the right woods. He still pulls it out on these dogleg lefts every single time.
Yeah, I don't understand. I would just hit it up there as far as you can, Tim.
Yeah, that's been my advice the entire time. He is facing the worst guy in this, and this will already be concluded, and we'll have the results by the time people are actually watching this. So follow along live at the PME, I suppose. He is I made the odds for each of the first 3 days of matches, and he's a -300 favorite over the worst player. The guy who is like somewhat in the middle, like higher end towards the middle, so the 14 players, he's probably like 5, 6, or 7. He's a -700 favorite over the same guy the next day.
Okay.
That's telling you where Tim's at right now.
Listen, I hope you don't feel the great shame, because for how excited you are, the other side of the coin, I feel, goes the other way.
It will be a long 3.5 hour drive home if we lose. But if there are shortcomings, the shortcomings.
Wait, you want to be congratulated on
and
this
I will
thing
take
for a year, but it would
heat.
only be a bad 3-hour drive
Oh,
home.
no,
but you
no,
want
no.
a
I would
year
take
of
the
credit?
heat. I will get a year of being mocked vociferously if we lose, and that's fine.
No, if put it this way, if we lose, it's fine. No one's gonna mock you that we lost. If you lose this opening match, you will never, ever live it down.
I'm aware.
You got called out by the worst guy on the trip. Called out. And you got taken out of a match you were surely to lose into one you're surely to win. You better not fucking lose.
I thank you. That is a real boost of confidence. I don't know. I need someone to keep me on the rails this trip because I'm already very anxious. But I'm also looking forward to it. But I'm also very anxious.
Geoff, Tim and I played the other day. We were walking to the 6th hole. Tim was playing pretty well, too. And he told me he was dripping with so much swag that he couldn't be controlled. Walking off the 9th hole, I asked him what he had on the hole. And he said, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm not keeping score anymore. So that's how it shifts mid-round.
We've all been there.
Like when you're playing well, do you tell people you're playing so well that you can't be beat, and then 3 holes later you're no longer keeping score? Or do you have more of a measured type of response to this?
Yeah, everyone is like everyone is just avoid the triple as long as possible. Like, keep this going. Don't ruin the number. Tim ruined it quickly, I guess, because he was too sweaty with swag.
It was dripping.
It was literally, I believe I claimed it was falling out of my pockets. I had so much swag.
Maybe you should have kept some.
Yeah, well, I've learned my lesson. Try to be
really?
a little bit more. Yeah, I think I have.
That was good, though, because you played well on the back 9. That's what I want. Like, when you hit your bad periods, that's all I want from this trip, is that when you hit your rough patches, we're all going to go through rough patches. We're not scratch golfers over here. So when you have that like 4 or 5 hole stretch when nothing is working, I need you to be able to pull yourself out of it and get back on the tracks. Because if you don't, you're going to start losing some of these matchups you think you're going to win.
The problem is the perception I have about Tim's game is like the way he goes about it, he can give up a hole as opposed to just trying to do shots that will just keep pressure on the opponent. He will try to do these miraculous things that will give away holes instantly.
Like on the 9th hole there the other day, I had hit sort of a rough tee shot to the right, but it was playable. I was like 195 out, and the pin was on the left, so I was trying to hit this high draw with my hybrid over this branch that's hanging by the lake, so I could bring it into the right side by the pin, and I just caught it a bit left and it got wet, and that was like, I just was furious. I just felt like throwing my whole bag in the lake and driving home.
Yeah, you were trying to shot shape from the rough from 195 out to the green.
And
yes, I needed to
take this justice of position, Geoff, on this. So I hit the superior drive on this hole to everyone that we were playing with. I had a hybrid off the tee, a little right to left, middle of the fairway, like 148 out. And I'm looking at the pin, and it's such a fucking sucker pin tucked away to the left. But if you miss left, you're in the water. There's a bank that just goes right into the water. It will take your ball if you miss hit it at all to the left. And like a coward, I hit a 9 iron in, trying to aim at the center of the green, but like I had that don't go left swing, and I missed the green to the right. Hole high, missed it to the right, because if I was going to miss, that's where I wanted to miss, to take big numbers out of play. And I'm playing well at the moment, much better than Tim is, especially that day during the score. And I have chipping in for birdie on that hole. You know what that doesn't give you, Tim? An opportunity to do when you're in the water trying to hook it over the water to a sucker pin.
But then on 16, I hit this beautiful little baby draw down to the very end of the fairway and left myself just a little flip wedge in, and it felt so sweet coming off my club that I was able to do exactly what I was trying to do.
Well, I think it's a little bit different when you're trying to hook it over water to a sucker pin and your tee shot on a short par 4.
That's fair.
Like, no one's scratched, so you just stay in the hole because anyone can.
Well, a couple of guys we're playing with are just about scratch these days. Pat's getting to that point, and our friend Mark is getting to that point, and our friend Tim is nearly in that point.
What Tim considers a scratch golfer is if you like break 80, that's not what it is.
I could see our friend Mark breaking 70 if everything goes right.
He's been a high-level golfer for like 20 years. He's never broken 70.
That is such bad pop. You can't be enjoying that, Geoff.
Yeah, that was bad.
I can't wait to do this food review on the show, on the trip. People have to watch well, I guess they will have seen this already. So I would say people should watch the Twitter feeds for live updates on our trip, but this will have already happened.
Yeah, so we'll have a review on the AFC Win Total show. I'll promise you that. NFC North is where we're heading to right now. The Packers, 11 wins is their over-under win to make the playoffs, minus 500, minus 190 to win the division at DraftKings Sportsbook, 4 to win the conference, and 9 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. It feels like you're just losing money if you're taking Packers unders. As long as Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, especially with this defense that they got on the go, yeah, Devontae Adams not being there sucks for this offense. Their offense not as likely to be good. Their defense still very good. Not a great division, not a great conference, and they have either the best or second best quarterback in that conference. Packers over, Geoff. Easy one for me.
Yeah, so while I am high on another party here, Pat.
Is it the Vikings? Is it a year? So is it the Vikings?
Hold on a second. Well, the truth is, you sort of get to the moment. Well, it's fun to have thoughts in these things like in the off season, but now we're here, and it does feel like the Packers are being besmirched unfairly. There's a perception of them that probably isn't true, and you can make the case that they're undervalued. Rodgers will make a star. He'll make the other guys stars. They'll be fine. But in the bigger picture, does the downfall of the NFC help anyone more than probably the Packers? Like, their road kind of still feels like it still exists, despite people wanting to say it's that diminished. Like, yeah, they got a little worse. Well, the conference feels like it's bad. So, yeah, I think that there could be value on the Packers on all levels of overs and even to the Super Bowl, silly enough. I'm going to take the over on the Packers. I like other party, but I'm not ready to throw the Packers into away. Not at all.
When we're going to make our NFC picks at the end of this show, and you're going to see the Packers going to the Super Bowl from me. I think this is a nice opportunity for them. Rodgers coming off back-to-back MVPs, yet they get very little respect. I mean, justifiably so, with some of the horrific losses that they've had in the playoffs. But just takes one of these years, Geoff, and everything flips around. The one thing that I know is that they're going to be there in the tournament, and they might have the best record coming out of it as well. Maybe get that bye week, which has never really served them well in the past. But either way, it just feels like they've been on the wrong side of a lot of this now for X amount of years in a row, that they're just going to have some playoff luck at some point. And when you continuously have Aaron Rodgers here, improve the defense, have that be your stronger unit, and have the MVP at quarterback, I feel like that's going to work out in your favor more times than not. So over, under for the coin, Tim, and I'm guessing under for you?
Yeah, under for me. This is a wild card team, but not a not a division winner, and not a team that I'm gaga about. So 10-7, probably what I picked them at. So a slight under. The offense has gotten a lot worse. Those are the facts. Rodgers has won 2 MVPs in a row. There's no precedent for somebody playing at his age 3 MVP seasons in a row like that. I know he had these are psychedelics or whatever to get it, or psychotropics or whatever it was that got him sort of like in the right state of mind. But I don't see it. I think the odds are way too short. Like 9-1 to win the Super Bowl. Really, you can win the Super Bowl 11% of the time when the season is played. I think that's kind of silly. I don't see much value on Green Bay here. I think they take a little bit of a step backwards. 10-7, like I said, wild card, but under here.
It's even on both sides. It is -110, and they do get to play the NFC and AFC East as their crossovers, which is kind of nice considering they should beat up on their division anyway. If they go 5-1 in their division, they're well on their way to doing this. So let's get to Geoff's pick, like it is every year. Tell us why the Vikings are going to be so good and go to the NFC Championship game.
I just like the vibe out of the NFC. I do want to say the Packers only finished one spot ahead of the Chargers in yards allowed per carry. So that could be a big problem. Big. And teams that can run dominated against them.
Yeah, but when you're the Packers and you're way out ahead, teams tend not to run on you. That's sort of the solve. And when you look at that per play, well, what did they go, 14-3 last year? So presumably they were leading in a lot of those games. You know what they weren't playing a lot of? 8-man boxes.
100%. Well said, and context is king to all of that stuff. I'm big on the Vikings. I'm big on Kevin O'Connell. I'm big on Zimmer being out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun in Minnesota this year in that dome with the weapons finally utilized. It's scary sometimes when you look at what is going on defense, but I am more bullish on the Vikings, I guess I would say, from an individual performance situation. Like my Justin Jefferson Offensive Player of the Year, 24-1. I think Kirk Cousins is going to be a fantastic fantasy option this year. So yeah, I am picking them over. I am picking them over, but like big picture payoff wise, it's more so the individual performances that I'm looking to benefit the most from in Minnesota.
So looking at their win totals right now, it's 9 to make the playoffs is -115, plus 260 to win the division, 18-1, 35-1 conference and Super Bowl. I actually like their over 2. And it's mainly due to their schedule. I just feel like even if they lose twice to the Packers, I feel like they have 10 incredibly winnable games. And then that's giving them losses in all the, like, basically the coin flip games that it might come down to. Like, will they beat Dallas? I mean, maybe. I'll give them a loss on that. They still get to 10 wins. So I'm with you. It's not so much that I'm like really high on O'Connell. I have no fucking clue about this guy, but he's got to be better than whatever Zimmer's been for the last 2 years. I can see them playing a lot of boat race games, to tell you the truth. I like their offense a lot. No idea what their defense is going to look like, that they might be in that Dallas position of, do they have to score 40 points in order to win games? And I feel like a lot of the time that's going to be the case when they go up against like decent offenses. And I think that with this offense that they could do it. So I'm not down on the Vikings. I'm not super high on the Vikings, but I do think that they beat their 9 win total. Tim.
I think they're going to go 9-8. So, I mean, I know we can't push, and we're not going to push. I will play the under, I guess. I think they're going to be fine, but they're not going to be great. I don't look, Kirk Cousins. I mentioned on the show that he's an interesting pick for MVP, and he is. But at the same time, like, I could just see him being flat. And I like Justin Jefferson a ton, but the vibes are okay there, but they still, I don't know. There's something about that team that just doesn't click for me.
Yeah,
like they're missing something.
Do you know what it
I
is?
can't quite describe it.
I can describe it.
Gone?
I can describe it to you in, I guess, in one sentence. How about that? Can I do this for you, Tim?
Sure.
They are the NFC Chargers.
Well, I mean, there's something tragic about them.
Yeah.
That's well said. And if something is going to go bad, sooner or later it will go bad for them. So I'm going to play the under, but honestly, I think 9 is the perfect number. I think they go 9-8. I think they're well capped.
Coin is on the under as well. You've come a long way on Kirk Cousins, where he could be flat, he could be MVP, that it was lock and loaded. Geez, no less than 8 months ago that you came on the show and said he was better than Aaron Rodgers.
I know what I said. I'm allowed to be wrong.
Week 1 versus the Packers. That will be fun. That is the Vikings are going to be a home dog. I have no doubts. Probably a game I'm going to bet as Vikings on that home dog. And I'm upset it's at 4:00 because it's going head to head versus the Chargers, and that's one of my favorite games on the Week 1 schedule. Packers.
Yeah, that's America. That's got to be America's game of the week. Yeah,
it probably is America's game of the week. It didn't seem like much is going on at 4:00.
Well, no, because the U.S. Open is on.
No,
they never have more than 2 or 3 games week 1 because they don't want to go up against the U.S. Open.
Chiefs, Cardinals, Chargers, Raiders, Packers, Vikings, and Giants, Titans. So Fox,
okay.
Yeah,
that will be America's game of the week.
When you say that the NFL doesn't do X because of X other sport, they stopped giving a shit about that a long time
Well, because
ago.
CBS owned the U.S. Open.
Yeah, it used to be more of a CBS television commitment that they wouldn't. They would just sort of block themselves out. But You're right, Pat. Like CBS finally decided, like that's the dumbest shit we've ever done.
We need to put football. We need to put football on. That's going to do better
all day. And somehow they realize that 4 p.m. slot is gold. It's Sunday night. Everyone's getting home. They're home in that 5 o'clock range for dinner. It's America's game of the week. It's like Foss prime time. Being on a small slate 4 o'clock premier game.
And, Tim, are you ready to call Kirk Cousins better than Aaron Rodgers again if the Vikings win in week 1?
No, I'm not.
Are you sure?
It should be an interesting game. I have no idea which way I would go on that game.
Well,
That's an interesting game.
Good thing we're doing a show in 2 weeks about who's gonna cover.
I have
the
time to
spreads
think
in
about
these
it, don't
games.
I?
You do. You have a lot of time. Will you do psychedelics like Aaron Rodgers if the Packers win the Super Bowl?
No, I will not.
You sure?
I am sure. Maybe if the Jets win the Super Bowl.
Okay, we're gonna hold you to that.
It wasn't in the reporting of the Rodgers psychedelics and everyone trying to remember what that is or what it's done. And I just remember that stuff from the Howard Stern show when like Robin went to Peru and she did it. And she said she vomited and shat for like 5 days uncontrollably.
Sounds like a good way to.
Sound like fun.
Sounds like a good way. I mean, it sounds like this accomplishes the same thing as like an enema. Not so much like the puking part, but the shitting part. Easy stuff. Flush it right out.
I suppose.
The Detroit Lions, the team of the preseason. Everyone loves the Lions. They're up to 6.5 as a win total, 4-1 to make the playoffs, 10-1 to win the division, 60-1 to win the conference, still 150-1 to win the Super Bowl. The books aren't buying it, Geoff, about the Lions. They are minus 125 to hit the over, plus 105 to hit the under. You already talked about Dan Campbell really being hyped up as coach of the year. They're on Hard Knocks, so we know the under is most definitely going to hit. I get why people are somewhat excited, and I think that they fall more into the camp of Carolina and Atlanta and the Giants, and one of these teams that could, on paper, look really crappy, transition year, probably a year away, 2 years away from being good, but all of a sudden it just clicks, and then they hit their over, and they make the playoffs. But it seems like everyone has just agreed that's going to be the Lions, and it couldn't be any of the other teams. I'll go with history here. Under 6.5 on the Detroit Lions.
And I'm going to agree with you, and I'm just going to pick the side of Vegas here. And it's almost like, to your point, Vegas is like saying, step right up, bet the Vikings or bet the Lions. This is a position we are willing to take. We're willing to be wrong on because of what the opportunity cost of being right about this is and the likelihood that the public is going to be wrong. Even before the Hard Knocks thing started, this team was being galvanized by a lot of people in the betting markets. Like I said, when I first clicked into Footballs Here, one of the first things that caught my eye was seeing how hard Dan Campbell dropped for Coach of the Year. They're like 60s, 70s on the initial output of that market. Now he's under 20-1. That's like laughable. So yeah, well, everyone wants to buy, and if they're great, I'll be entertained by it. Like all of you, I'll enjoy all the sound clips that will come from it, but I'm not willing to bet on it at all. I am excited for them because you saw some of the numbers once they fired Anthony Lynn and Dan Campbell took over some of that offensive responsibility. Things did get a lot better, and we're hoping that can transition this season into the season.
Tim, we know you like the over. You keep talking about how good the Lions are going to be.
I love them. This is going to be I love Motor City. Everything about them this season. I think this is a really talented team, and that they have been blessed by the schedule gods. Let's just take a quick look at the teams they get to face. Chicago twice, the Giants, the Jaguars, the Panthers, the Jets, the Seahawks, the Commanders. They have been blessed by having an extraordinarily soft schedule. So to get to the over, they only need to win 7 games. And that's assuming they don't split any games with the Vikings or Packers. And in the 4 games between the Vikings and Packers, I think it's quite reasonable for you two, even though you both like the Vikings and Packers, for that to be a 1-3 split. The Lions win 1 and lose 3, either which way you slice it. Either of those teams are stupid enough to throw games away like that. So there's a lot of reasons to recommend Detroit, but I recommend them further. I like them to win. I think we're going to have a playoff game in Detroit this January.
You like them to win the division?
I do. I like them to win the division. I really do.
Paul.
I think there's 11 wins on that schedule.
You listed the Jets in that. I thought the Jets
That's a winnable game.
Jets
okay, but that's a game that
Jets are 8-0 by Halloween, I heard.
I've retracted that when I realized how many games they had.
They play them November 13th, though, so that's not
a tough stretch.
Or maybe they don't. I'm looking at the Bears' schedule. When do they play the Jets? Yeah, they play the Jets in December, like a week before Christmas. Yeah, that's fine. The Jets will already
by December 18th,
they'll have already clinched a playoff spot. Then, There you go. Good logic, Tim. Good logic.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't wait for that early Thanksgiving game when the Lions devour Buffalo. I'm looking forward to this. And how does the league reward them? They give them the Giants beforehand and the Bears before that. So it's a couple of easy grazing games before Buffalo on Thanksgiving. This Lions team is just top to bottom, I think, underrated. I know Goff is bad, blah, blah, blah. Goff's
fine.
Competent. He's fine. He's confident. Ever since they got rid of Anthony Lynn, I have felt nothing but better about this offense. They have some playmakers. They have a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown who could easily win Offensive Player of the Year. They have
easily win Offensive Player of the Year.
Could easily win if he hits his ceiling. There's just a ton of talent in Detroit. There's a reason that there's lots of people who are out there touting them. It's not just me on an island. Well, I'm willing to go one step further and put them as a division winner. I like the magic they have in Motown here is real. It's legit. It's a feel-good story, and I'm there for it.
They're going to lose like a week 1 game in such a soul-crushing fashion.
They play Philadelphia week 1.
Yeah.
Well, they better win that game if they want to win the division.
No, not necessarily. But does that have any effect on the division for? That's not a divisional.
That they need, if they're going to go get to 11 wins, like you say, they probably need to beat Philly.
No, I expect Philly to win 11 games to be a division winner too. I think it's perfectly reasonable. In fact, that could be a first-round playoff. Well, they couldn't be if they're both division winners. It could be a second-round playoff matchup.
So it's under for everyone except for Tim, who is way over on the Detroit Lions. I've talked about the next team enough, I think, over the course of the preseason. I got my money in. I am taking my hard-earned, well, not really hard-earned money. I've taken money that I've earned. I don't work very hard, as you can tell. But I put it on the Chicago Bears unders everywhere. So the Chicago Bears over-under at DraftKings Sportsbook right now is 6.5. You have to lay minus 190 in order to get that price. So I have actually went to, actually, it's down to 5.5. No, fun stuff. Is that 5.5 now? It moved. It moved an entire game since we last talked.
It's the most bet win total.
Well, I have Bears 5.5 alt win total under at plus 150. That was my big bet that I gave out 3 weeks ago. So I still like that a lot.
I think if you could get it down to 2.5, I think you've got a better than 50% chance of winning it.
Oh, I don't like to hear that.
An alt total down to 2.5, like this has got 2 and 15 written all over it.
I mean, I bet them as the worst team in the league at 10-1. Yeah. That's down to plus 750 right now. Everyone is. Jeff. I don't love that everyone has hopped on like the Bears. I mean, they just see the same things that I see. I'm not saying that I said it and then people hopped on it. I'm just hopping on as well. But just I noticed it early enough to get good odds on it. But whew, it's a bad team, man. Really bad. The saving grace for them and why it's somewhat tricky is they have, much like the Lions, like they have the same easy schedule that the Lions have. In fact, it might even be easier than the Lions schedule. They play, their crossover game is the Texans. So they have the Texans, the Giants, the Commanders, the Dolphins, Lions, Falcons, Jets, and Lions. So they have those 8 games. Could they get to 6 wins in that? Yeah. I think that the reason that I bet them to have the worst record in the league is that if they lose that game to the Texans, and they lose twice to the Lions, and they lose to the Jets, which I think is definitely possible, and the Falcons, like, what other teams are there now to pass them for the worst record? The Jags? That's it?
Maybe they beat San Francisco week 1 and then lose the next 12 straight.
That actually is somewhat plausible. Like, that feels like something that might happen in week 1. Ruin everyone's survivor pool. It's like, oh, all these bets on the Bears. Turns out they're actually good. And then they fucking suck.
The 49ers did that. Remember they beat the Vikings on a Monday Night Football game to start the year? And like the Niners didn't win again for like 3 weeks or for 3 months. And people were still talking about that Monday Night Football game when they beat the Vikings.
It was even last year, guys, where Houston...
I mean, 2 years ago, the Jags won in week 1 and didn't win
again. Yeah, big upset week 1. They didn't win again. Week 1 can be...
We got this wrong, Paul. It is still at 6.5 at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's minus 190, 6.5 under, plus 150, 6.5 over. The 5.5 is the alt win total, and that's plus 120 at DraftKings Sportsbook right now to the under. So we're so under on the Bears, we're even giving them a less game on the board like everyone else.
I moved it to the alt on the graphic here because
you knew where we were going.
6.5 was so juiced at that point that I was just like, well, that's not. I tried to get them closest to the pick'em that was available on the market.
That is good producing, sir. I like that.
You know,
that's
just a
really
pretty
good.
face.
No, I agree with that. Smart move. Give the closer to 50-50 line. I have the 6.5 at like a normal off-season number. I may have laid like 30 or 40 cent juice as the steam was coming. So I am in on the under. They only have 2 games on the look-ahead lines that they're favored in, and neither are by more than a field goal. One would be a home game versus Houston, and one would be a home game versus Detroit. I don't see, let alone to actually lose the 6.5. I don't know how to find the 7 wins. For them to win 7, it just seems impossible. For them to win 6 seems quite difficult. So I am totally with everyone.
So you call it free money. You call it free money.
I don't use those words, but
when you say it's impossible, what is that but free money?
I don't know where 7 wins come from. Their look-ahead lines would make it like they would need to win all 3 games as short favorites or pick 'em, and then they would need to win 4 of 6 games as short underdogs. Is it doable? Like, yeah, but I don't think it's doable because the games that they are short underdogs in, I think those teams have at least gotten better. Like, they might not be good, but I think the Lions are better. I think the Falcons are better. I think the Jets with Zach Wilson late in the season are better.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know where it comes from. The teams that they're kind of being told they're on the same level as, I agree with Pat. They're actually significantly worse than, in my opinion.
At DraftKings Sportsbook right now, the lines have shifted on fewest amount of regular season wins. The Bears are now the 4th favorite at 7-1, the same as the Seahawks. The Texans are 3-1. The Falcons are now 4-1. The Jets are 5-1. Like, I think the Jets are terrible, but they're way better than the Bears.
Jets have a ton of talent.
Oh yeah, I agree. I like the talent on the Jets.
That is the difference. They have talent. The Bears have 0.
Yeah, agreed. And they have talent at important spots as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing but wins on that schedule.
Nothing but wins. Lowest scoring team? That's interesting. Could they be who will score fewer points this season, do you think? The Bears or the Seahawks?
Bears.
Yeah, the Bears are 6-1 to win that. Because the Texans are bad, but I don't feel like they're that bad. The
Giants could win that. The Giants can't score. The Giants could win that.
Yeah, but at least they have a respectable offensive coordinator who could turn some of these pieces around. True. There's that out that you have. What do we see from the Bears? That
nothing.
Bad talent everywhere. I like Fields.
Mooney.
Yeah, Mooney, Kmet, and Fields striking fear into opposing offenses with no offensive line.
I guess here would be the question, Pat. Which team would you trust to be a better garbage time offense, Seattle or Chicago?
Chicago.
Seattle had the receivers.
Yeah, but Chicago has Fields, who might just run for 80 yards and a touchdown.
I think still Seattle.
It probably
because if you're really bad, you're just going to be down 3 scores a lot, and then the fourth quarter can impact that the totality of final points.
So I'm picking the Packers. Tim's picking the Lions to win the NFC North. Who are you picking? Are you picking the Vikes or the Packers?
I'm going to pick the Vikes, but I might even pick the Packers to supersede them come postseason.
Okay, so let's see. For NFC picks, Geoff and I have Dallas. Tim has Philly. Tim and I have the Bucks. Geoff has New Orleans. Geoff and I have the Rams. Tim has San Francisco. I have Green Bay. I want pure chalk here. Minnesota in the North for Geoff. Green Bay for me. Detroit for Cust. Give us an NFC Championship game, Tim. And who's going to the Super Bowl?
San Francisco defeats Tampa Bay, and so San Francisco goes to the Super Bowl.
Over Tampa Bay? I am going to pick the Packers, Green Bay, over, I'll say the Bucks, over Tampa Bay. Green Bay over Tampa Bay for me in the NFC Championship game. Geoff, how about you?
A Kings of the North NFC title game. Packers over Vikings.
You got the Jon Snow Bowl?
I guess I do.
Did you guys watch the first episode of House of Dragon?
No, I haven't.
I have not. Is it good? I don't know whether I know it was popular. I don't know if it was good though.
It was fine. I liked it. I haven't seen it yet. It's a first episode of a Game of Thrones show. There's 80,000 people who I don't know in it. I'm like, what's going on here? But it was
previews made it look terrible to me, but I haven't seen it yet. Obviously, I saw the previews on TV. It's like, this looks like it's going to be bad. But
I kind of agree with Tim, but the show has even to not like the finish. There's enough equity in HBO and the Game of Thrones brand where I'm 100% gonna watch it.
Well, this is it. The show doesn't have to be good for me to watch it. I watch bad TV all the time. But like I'm just eyes wide open, knowing that what I'm consuming is not very good.
Well, you're a big Mass Singer fan, aren't you?
Mass singer, mass dancer, I'm aware of the stuff that I'm watching is bad, but that doesn't preclude me from watching it. Alone, well, that's just an excellent show. But I watch that. I'll need more network stuff now that This Is Us is done. I need to jump into some more network dramas.
Can I ask you a question about Mass Singer, and it's got nothing to do with the Brady rumor? How
Sure.
do they honestly expect people to guess a singing like C-rate celebrity?
It is remarkable. Well, they're not all C-rate. Like one year, Paul Anka was on there. Like sometimes they have famous people on there. But it is
the C
difficult.
grade celebrity category is so wide that how are you supposed to guess who the hell can be under a mask?
Don't know. I mean, this could go back to Pat's theory about how what's it called? Is American Ninja Warriors rigged, according to him, even though it clearly isn't. Maybe the Masked Singer also, that they get little hints or cheat sheets. Like this is not like Guess My Line or whatever from the 50s. I'm sure if you ask Pat, you'll see the producers are giving him hints about who that person is in the popcorn bag or whatever.
Because I've seen people pop out of that thing, and like not in a million years would you
ever
classify
guessed
them
that
as
was? Yeah, I don't know how they do it. But then, like, I've also been watching these TikToks recently of these people who can look at a place on a Google map and within 1/3 of a second know what country they're in, what town they're in, what spot they're in, everything within 1/3 of a second.
Oh, that was remember, did we used to play that game? Because there's a Google Map generator where it'll drop you into like the actual street view of anywhere in the world. Then you have to try to guess. You can like click around and try to go somewhere to try to find out where you are. We used to play that. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's real tough.
But there are people who like online can do it within a second. They know what country they're in. Like as soon as you blink, that's Tunisia. Oh, that's Greenland. They just know it within seconds. It's like some people are just geniuses at this stuff. So I don't know whether the judges on the Masked Singer are like that, just perceptive. I don't know whether Robin Thicke is that perceptive to know who's singing, but maybe they are. I really don't know. But like I said, Pat probably would tell you it's all rigged. Like Storage Wars was quote unquote rigged, or American Ninja Warrior is quote unquote rigged.
If you're not watching a professional sporting event on TV and you're watching competition TV, it's rigged. It's a fucking TV show.
I don't think so.
It doesn't need to be rigged as in they predetermine the winners of everything that's going on, but the producers have the invisible hand of producing and will push things that they want to push to make for better TV.
In some cases, I'm sure that
All cases. You don't think the producers on Survivor are doing that?
No, I don't. You think the people on Alone are doing that?
Yeah, I do.
There's no one there. They're just on their own with the camera.
Oh, yeah.
There are no producers on set hanging out next to them in a warm campground while they're living off the land.
You think that they don't talk to producers at all at any point over those days?
It's called Alone. You are alone.
It's called Alone, Pat.
It's called Alone. You're not with people.
I like that.
Like, come on.
You've been working
Give your head a shake.
You've been doing these shows with me for like 12 years now, and you seemingly have no idea how TV works.
I know how those shows work.
No, you don't.
They wouldn't lie to me.
You clearly do not know how these shows work.
I have a pretty decent sense of what they do.
You know, in the same way Tim creates, or Paul creates an audio bar on your graphic,
Yes.
it's not real.
You're right. Okay, so the beard these people are growing on Alone, that's not real. The pigs that they're chasing after, that's not real.
That's not what we're saying. Paul.
I think I've said this on the show before, that when I was in Fiji, I was
And got this coin.
over the hill, like from like this resort that I was at. Over the hill is where they filmed the second season of Survivor. So if you went over the hill from that little set, you could see like all the old like tikis and everything like that, and like it was kind of funny. But there was 4 all-you-can-eat buffets, and like that's where all the staff would stay.
Yeah,
like,
I
that's
don't
what
think
happens on TV.
I don't think that they're
I'm
giving.
sure the staff do that.
Yeah, but I don't. What I'm not saying is that when the cameras are off, that all of a sudden these Survivor people are going to eat at all-you-can-eat buffets. I don't believe that to be the case. What I'm saying is that during the course of the competitions, when they want a certain outcome to happen on Survivor, like, oh, this guy is good TV, we need to figure out a way to get him to stick around. How about this immunity challenge is the thing they're really good at? How about that?
I mean, okay, I would be willing to concede that. That's
So
fair.
wouldn't that make it rigged?
Not in the same way as like determining who's going to
No,
win.
it's all the same fucking shit. You're trying to
This is not
get
world-
the
this is not
Every
out.
time for
Well,
5 years, the winner isn't the part that's rigged.
Like you make it sound like it's WWF.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
If on Alone someone drops their camera, there's a dude coming the next day with a new camera.
Yeah.
Like if they're
don't have any
hiding up in
conversation,
a
it's just-
tree trying to show their squirrel traps or something like that, like someone's coming to get them a new camera because they need that footage. So it's like they're not.
Oh yes,
really
they'll drop them off a new
alone.
camera and then they're gone right away. They don't chat. They don't have a conversation.
How do you fucking know that?
Because they wouldn't want to give them any information that would advantage them in the competition.
Unless they wanted that person to win.
I don't think the TV network has a preference on who wins.
Are you sure about that?
None of these people are famous. You're never going to see any of them ever again.
None of the people that go on reality shows the first time are famous. Some people make good TV. That's the person you want to see. If you can get more traction out of them and make your show more popular. No, Geoff, why would we ever do that?
Yeah, no, it's not like they pick who wins, but they can make it easier for someone to win by a contest. Like if you have to find something, they make it so much harder on one side. Like I don't know. There's so many.
Put it this way, even
The
on Alone.
production elements in these shows are tenfold, Tim, and you choose to think they're not existent.
Even on Alone, where maybe they don't have any contact if someone breaks a camera or something happens. Or, I mean, if someone needs medical attention, they're going to have to come out and get them. They can't let them
Yeah,
die.
but then they get pulled up. No, then they get pulled out of the show.
Fair enough. But that would just show you that there's people close enough that have to come react
Well,
to
they have
this
a
stuff.
button. They carry this little thing that's a button.
Oh, what if they
And
passed
anytime
out?
they need to-
What if they passed out?
They
That is a
carry
good
they
question.
carry a sat phone.
Yeah.
Like a satellite phone.
Yeah, they carry a
have-
satellite
They have
phone,
GPS on them. But let's say Pat is doing the casting for Alone. I mean, season 8 of Alone, a show I like. I really like Alone. It's fun. I'm casting the people to be on it. So I have these.
You cast me?
No, I would not cast you. That would not be good TV.
I think it would.
It would be fun for like 3 minutes until you start crying, and then they'd have to get you out of there. You want like real
Would
people
not.
on this. But when you go through, you have to find people who fit the certain skill type that you're doing to begin with. But then it's reality TV. You can't just have no personality. Now, Alone is limited because there's only so many people with this particular set of skills. Liam Neeson's of the outdoor world that can pull this off and feasibly survive up in these conditions, which I show they are out there doing all of this. However, they can put, this guy who I think might make some good TV because he's a bit of a crazy person and, isn't afraid to do that on camera. Let's put him in a more generous spot so he can stick around longer. It's not like they're dumping them on a map randomly. They know where they're going to be.
That's fair. I would agree with that.
Well, we hit production issues, so that just marks the end of the show. No more arguing about reality TV production, although I'm right very clearly, and even was conceded to that point by Tim Undercust,
Tim Undercust.
which is his name, obviously. Remember to rate and review the podcast, 5 stars, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Subscribe. While you're there, tell some friends. Help us share the show around. All of the previous content down in the description, and runthesims.com. You simulate every week of the football season for fantasy, for betting, for props, whatever it might be. Runthesims.com/Mayo will get you a discount off the season-long package. That'll do it for me. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience! Experience!